work on my T80. I'm going to do a quick video about painting some figures. I've got a few of them here. These two guys and the people left because I've already painted the people on my my diorama here. And there's my my Martyr 3. I was going to use a Panzer 3, but I kind of want to enter this in a show. It's in about a month, and I don't really have the time and the cash to buy another Panzer 3 or something like that. So that's going to be my disabled tank in the back. And these are my people over here I painted before. And basically these two people are going to be painted the same way. This guy here is basically going to be the same as this guy here, the green guy here, because they have basically the same German green camouflage suit. And this guy here, the Panzerfaust, is basically going to be the same as that guy with the green pants and the camo kind of vest thing. So I'm going to be doing basically a quick kind of sum up of how I paint my figures and the faces and stuff like that, because I have very many videos of that on YouTube, because people say it's hard to film, but you know, I'll try. I don't think it should be too hard. So I'm going to start off with Mr. Panzerfaust here. And basically I'm going to do, first I'm going to do his camo shirt, which I'm basically going to paint with the XF60, which is basically like German yellow kind of color. And then I'm going to do some highlights on his shirt with the XF55. And now that the yellow is dry, I also put on this guy's helmet because he's the same pattern on his helmet. I'm going to do some highlights along the folds of his shirt with XF55 deck tan, which is a little bit brighter. And to make a realistic figure, you really need to make some highlights on him. It just really makes it seem more three-dimensional. That helps it out. And now to add the camouflage pattern, I'm going to use Citadel Camo Green, which I don't think they make anymore. They don't make this color anymore, but if you go to like a place, like a Games Workshop or something, they have a thing that basically, because they change all the colors, basically you'll say like, if you want this color, it's now called this color. And you just need one of those. And then for the darker green, I'm using, this is Russian green basically, it's a medium green. I use it on my SU gun. It's a little bit blue actually, so it's not Russian green really. It's more of kind of bluey, yellowy, kind of, well, I guess blue and yellow together makes green, but still, it's not exactly right, but still, it's good for this. And basically, the camo pattern is polka dots every once in a while, a big clump. So I'm just using my my 5 Below Zero paintbrush here, and I'm just gonna put polka dots all over him. And then when I'm done, I'm gonna go back and make some bigger clumps, and then at the end I'll do this, and then I'll go over and put some this color, the original color polka dots over the thicker patches. There, hopefully you can see that I have applied the green camo stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure if you really can. It kind of blends in a little bit in the camera, but I think you can. And I put it in little clumps and areas like that. Those polka dots all over the place. I think this is called the splinter camouflage. I'm not exactly sure. For the like on the box, it showed the guy with a different camo. It was more brown. But I painted the other guy with this camo, and I want to paint this guy the same way, just to keep them a little kind of together, almost like make them seem a little together. That's the only word I can think of. But yeah, so now I'm gonna go over with this Russian green stuff. Now I'm going to go back and put some more polka dots over the clumps that I made to kind of blend them in. So basically I'm going to do some XF60 over some of these existing clumps here. As you can see, there's a clump right there above his hip. So I'm going to put a dot of this stuff, maybe two of them. And then I'll probably put one dot of the green Citadel stuff. It kind of blends them in, and that's what the camouflage pattern is. And there you can see the finished paint job, the finished camouflage pattern. Same thing on this guy's helmet. And it looks really, really nice. It didn't take too long to make it. I went over and added a little bit more darker green polka dots because it was a little bit lighter than the other guy painted. And that looks good. And now I'm painting the belt of both these guys with this color, which is Panzer Gray, as I did on the other soldiers. Now I'm painting the, I don't know what this is, but it looks like some kind of container for something. I'm just painting it with a kind of bluey color, bluey gray color. Then I'm going to dry brush it with very light gray. And now to paint the green color of the figures, I take these two colors here. Got Triart Sap Green, which is a bright green, and Neutral Gray, which is just normal gray. And then I mix them up. It's probably about like 60, 40, 70, 30, basically until it looks like the figures do over there. And I'm going to paint this whole figure that color, and then this guy's pants and his helmet that color. And basically what I do is I make the color, paint them, and then I keep some of it liquidy or whatever, and then I'll basically separate it in half, darken half of that by adding more gray, lighten half it by adding more green, and then you get the highlights and the low light colors. And now the finished color is right here. It's basically a disgusting army green vomit color, but it's the right color. And I'm just painting it on. So right here is an MG34 that the guy who is wearing like the full green kind of coat is going to be holding. He was supposed to be holding like a rifle, but I'm really bad at painting wood, and the rifle was like a wood color, so I decided to basically cut off his hand, flip it around, glue it back on so it's facing downwards now, and he's going to be kind of holding this, like, he's going to have his hand on the stock and like being kind of like pushing into the ground, kind of resting on it. So I'm going to paint this gun like I do all of my guns, which is with the, well, again, with the Panzer Gray color. And then I'm going to go over with black, a very thick black wash at the end to kind of accentuate the details and make it darker. Now I'm going to add some shadows to this guy by basically taking the color that I did before and adding a little bit more gray. I'm just going to put it into the areas where there would be shadows on his uniform. And now I've added the highlights with a brighter shade of the green color, the green-gray color. Also done it onto this man here with his coat. It looks a little bit less green than the figures I painted before. I'm not sure why. I think it might be because those people have been dull coated and stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to see if I can lighten them up a little bit. Because the color that they have, the highlight color that I used for them was a little more green than kind of gray, light green. I'm going to see if I can make that color brighter. So I've done a little bit more work on the highlights and the shadow areas. And it looks basically the same thing as the figures I painted before now. So I'm happy with that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the hard part, which is painting the face. And to start off with, I'm going to use some of this Tri-Art unbleached titanium beigey color. It's a bit gray too, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint the entire face and hands area with this, with just a light coat to start off with. So here's the MG34. Basically I painted the stock with the XF60 color, and now I'm gonna put on some of this raw umber stuff and just kind of make a wood-like texture, I hope. And I'm going to apply some raw sienna, just a little bit, for a bit of contrast. Doesn't look too bad there. Don't know if you can really see that if I hold it up close. But it's nice. I haven't tried that before. It looks pretty good actually. Now I'm going to paint the face of the figure. Well, the actual flesh tone. And with model color, dark flesh. There. So first I give it a good shake, or else it'll be really liquidy and disgusting, and it will be like a wash and it won't cover very well. And you just paint it on. And now I'm going to do some highlights on the on like the nose and the cheeks and stuff like that, and the fingers with this unbleached titanium stuff, which is stuff I did the base coat with. And I'm gonna not really do dry brushing, but more like really careful kind of highlighting like you would on the shirt. For the mouth, I'm just using a little tiny bit of gray paint that I've thinned down to basically a wash. And you just extremely carefully, so you just put it on like that, run it back and forth, and you can wipe off the extra. And then that accentuates the mouth. And now comes the really hard part, which is the eyes. Some people don't like to paint the eyes, but well, my people are basically facing the edge of the diorama, so you kind of have to do it. And what I'm going to do is basically just take some white paint. I'm just using this stuff now because it's nice and thin, already thin for me. And I take my 5 Below Zero brush, which is really small and I'm using it the whole time. And I'm just going to carefully paint it in like the eye sockets. And if it looks a little too big, then you can go over with some of the flesh colored stuff later. Because usually it looks kind of round when you put it on. And you want it to be more like, you know, elliptical shaped, like an oval or whatever. You can't see it. All I can see, you can see the reflection from it there in the light because it's shiny, because it's still wet. But you can't if I just look at it normally. But from here, you definitely can't see that the eyes are white. Actually, I did pretty good there. Don't need to really go over with that at all. It's kind of the same color as the face anyway, so if it's a little bit kind of off the eye shape, then that's perfectly fine. But what you really have to be careful with is painting the eye. I don't like to use black because it's a bit kind of strong, I guess. So I'm going to use like a dark gray instead. I'm going to take my 5 below 0 brush. You can even use like a toothpick or something like this because it will something that's very, very small at the end. I'm just going to kind of straighten this thing out. And take a little bit of paint. And be extremely careful, and you're probably going to mess this up like 4 times before you get it right. Also, a good tip is not to put it in the middle of their eyes. Because then it looks weird to kind of put it to one side or the other, like both their eyes kind of facing one way or the other. Because if you put it in the middle, then it just looks, I don't know why, but it looks odd. This guy, his eyes are going to be facing to his right. Can you see that? You can just see it right there. Black dot. Dark gray, I guess. And now the even harder part is making the next one the same as that one. That was a little high up. I'm going to have to redo that one. It's kind of high up on his eyebrow. So I'm going to take my flesh colored paint. Now I'm going to try again. There. Can you see his eyes? His helmet's kind of making a shadow, but I'm trying to get in the light here. Can you? I think you might be able to see them. They look really good, actually. Takes a bit of practice, but after you get the hang of it, you can do figures a lot easier. That's the thing, though, because some people, well, I guess a lot of people actually are really kind of afraid to do a figure. They're kind of like, ah, it's gonna look bad. And, well, yeah, it will. But after you've done, like, a bunch, then they start to get better. You have to just practice it. It's like kind of building your kit. Your first kit was never as good as the kit you're building right now. But you have to progress. First time I did a figure, actually it turned out pretty good because he had like goggles on, so I didn't have to do his eyes or like the whole top of his face. But still, figures I did after that were actually, they weren't as good, but they were still okay. Because I did the faces on those ones that looked pretty bad. Then I've gone on, this is probably about the 10th figure I've done. So I'm still kind of new to it. But you just have to do it and do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. And then eventually you start getting good at it. Basically, this is my technique. I don't know if it'll work for you, but I don't know, it might. If you have your own way or any tips, stuff like that, you can leave that in the comments. It'll kind of help me and other people that view my video kind of help them understand this, because it's a very kind of hard thing about modeling faces and figures and stuff like that. But I won't put eyebrows on this figure. I don't know why, but whenever I do put eyebrows on, it looks really weird. I don't know, it just does, so I don't do eyebrows. Usually because this guy has a helmet, it kind of makes his shadow, so you don't really see. You can see the black dots of his eyes, but I don't do the eyebrows. That just looks weird. I'm gonna paint this guy's head now. And there, I think you might be able to see that guy's eyes. I think you can, but do that. Yeah. Just did his eyes just a minute ago. And now I'm gonna paint his Panzerfaust with the XF55's deck stuff. Because it's supposed to be more of a skin color, but I want a bit of contrast with his skin, so I'm gonna do it with that color. And there you can see my figures. They're basically done now. All I gotta do is the boots and apply a wash to the guy's machine gun. And by, well, for that wash, what I'll be doing is I'll just be taking this, I talked about it before in another video, graphite gray. Basically, it's like really dark Panzer gray color. Like you take 50% Panzer gray, 50% black mixed together is what it is. I'm just going to thin it and apply a wash. And that should kind of make it darker and look better. I won't be washing the whole figure because I don't really think I need to, because I already gave them like highlights and shadows and stuff. So I'll just be doing a wash to the guns and their boots, which I'll explain soon. So the final painting step, which is the boots. Once again, Panzer Gray, which I use a lot because it's a very simple, basic gray color, but it's very handy. Paint the whole boot that way, and then I'll give it a very thick black wash later, and that will make them look kind of shiny and boot-like, I guess. Now for the boots, to finish them off, I'm doing a thick wash with some black paint. Basically, you put it everywhere, and then you kind of scrub it later with a brush, so that it kind of comes off some of the higher parts, and then that kind of medium gray color, the Panzer Gray stuff, shows through and gives you a nice realistic boot look. I think you can see the effect of the wash on the boots there. It really highlights the great detail that Dragon has put into the bottom and the sides of these boots. And it's going to look really nice on this figure here because he is in a crouching position, so his boots are quite obvious. So here are the finished figures. I went by and added a little bit more detail, like I did the buttons on the guy's shirt, and I had some highlights to the scarf or whatever he has on his neck. Just basically did a bit of touch-up, stuff like that. And then I gave them a coat of dull coat to make them not shiny anymore, and they look fantastic now. So I'm just going to mount them on the diorama with just white glue. Like, it's not going to be anything fancy about that. Also, another quick tip I'm going to do here is, sometimes you say you have like an antenna or something you're trying to cut off, and you try to cut it like you usually would, like right here or whatever at the sprue, and you cut it and it snaps because it bends. Tip for that is, let's say pretend like this is like a really thin antenna piece. What you can do is basically you can cut the sprue out around it, because the reason why it breaks is because it's attached on the side and stuff like that, and it flexes. So what you want to do instead is you want to, can I describe it here? I don't know, but if this piece here was a really flexible one, what I do is I cut off like here, and then I cut off like here. Basically, you just kind of work towards the piece from all sides. Then you probably won't break it or anything. Yeah, that's just a quick tip. Usually ends up working, because you just don't want to break parts like that, because you usually only get one. That's also why I have a brass rod on the antenna for my R3 there. It's a 0.05 millimeter. Yeah, because I cut it off and it broke. But then that stuff actually looks better, so it's okay. So hopefully you learned something new about painting figures in this show. Well, these are probably the best figures I've ever done, actually. The camera's even detecting their faces as human faces and trying to take pictures of them. So before I end this video, I just thought I'd show you a little bit of progress I've done since the finished filming the other part of this. I bought some figures here from Tamiya. They're just, I think they're called, it's called German Tank Crew at Rest. And I used 3 figures because that's the crew of the Panzer III. It's 3. I've got that guy who's the commander. I've got this guy's going to be kind of leaning inside of the Martyr 3 here. And I've got another guy down here, but he's kind of, I'm working on him a little bit because I modified his arm a bit. He's going to be sitting there beside the commander. I've glued in the 2 figures here. They look really, really good. And I've also done a bit of work on the bushes and stuff. And there's like a little mini tree over there. Yeah, and then my Martyr 3 over here. Done some work on that, just sprayed it with the XF60 stuff, and yeah, I'm gonna go over with some of that unbleached titanium stuff. It's a little brighter. The inside, that was the XF55. This is all just a base coat. I'm still not done working on that. Yeah, but I just did that. So hopefully in the next video I'll be able to show you some work that I've been doing on my T80 over here. Because I was doing a bit of work and then I kind of decided to stop and paint the figures because I got bored a bit. And I'm going to do some more work on that. Yeah, so if you have any questions or just like say hello to me or something like that, thanks, I don't know. You can just post that in the comments section. You can also subscribe or rate or like whatever you do. I don't know, just support me. And bring out some more videos soon. So guys, thanks for watching. This is Man's Voice 36. Goodbye.